So I've got a video to do about webbot, recent webbot reports, December, January, and the additional January one that was like specific to Bitcoin, the little one-off one, just to kind of see, they said, beginning of the year to kind of look for things. Let me kind of dig up some stuff in here, see what I can kind of come up with. And I think I found some things that we can safely say, I think that webbot was on point with what it said to look out for. And having said that, the new webbot report is coming out in a matter of days, very, very beginning of February. I think it's actually be out within the first 2 days, possibly. And having said that, there's going to be some really, really, really interesting things in there. I already got a little piece of a taste from Cliff the other day. I mentioned he was talking about some interesting, cool thing in Antarctica that should be found according to the data that I can't wait to talk about just because it's neat. But we're trying, I can't tell you this for sure, but it's a good chance. Sunday, so the day after, you're going to see the Saturday, the day after, today, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to do my normal 2 videos. You'll see those in the morning. But that night, that evening, we are trying like hell, Cliff and I, he's very busy, he's got a lot of stuff to do. We are going to try our best. Really him, because he's got so much stuff to do. I'm available, but I know he's really busy. We're going to try and do a Skype. And before the webbot report is even completed, he's like, this close to being done with it, but there's already a ton of stuff in there that we may just do like a preliminary interview or just chat with them about, hey, what are some cool things coming up in the webbot report that you're about to release? And we're going to discuss some of that stuff. So it's just almost like a pre-webbot summary, if you will, where, you get to hear some of the stuff that's going to be in this report before I even get my hands on it, before I even get to read it, do a summary and everything. So that'll be pretty neat. That, if we can pull this off, will be out Monday morning. First video I do will be that one. So yeah, cool if that can happen. If not, I apologize in advance. He's just a very, very busy man, and he's got tons of interviews lined up, I think, for February. So I'm very happy that we even are going to be able to try Sunday to even make this happen. And I hope we can, because I really like to give you some of the stuff in there, because I know this report coming up is going to be really, really interesting. So let's kind of look at how the webbot fared thus far with how 2017 was going to start and some things to look out for. And again, this is between the December webbot report, the January one, which was released like the first or second. Actually, it was released December 30th for January, and then the little mini report, whatever you want to call it, on Bitcoin. So there's only one thing in here out of that particular report. So I'm not sure. I didn't put which report, page 22. So this is either January or December, but page 22. And this is what it says, and then I've got my notes under that I'll get to. Other sets within the larger metadata layer of secrets revealed are reinforcing previously forecast language for difficulties within bad behavior of some segment of the general population. Now we note that the planned and hyped protests around the Trump inauguration are forecast within the most recent processing to be a flop or a wet noodle episode. The data shows that there are going to be instances of bad behavior that will be hyped within the legacy media, but that the expectation of mass demonstrations is to be disappointing. So my notes is, speaking of bad behavior, the legacy media, you might know it formerly as the mainstream media, was showing photos of the crowd size way before Trump was even there and presented that as, this is what the crowd looked like during the inauguration. Fake news. What is that? Bad behavior. Then we get to see the real photos of the inauguration, and they showed massive, as far as the eye could see, people. Okay? More fake news from the legacy media. And he says, I said in my notes, think about the pink vagina hats, the women who thought Juanita Broaddrick said Trump raped her. Remember I told you, they were doing videos of these people, interviewing them, and they pretended that it was Trump who was allegedly the rapist. and they flip-flopped on these women. None of them knew that. Yeah, he needs to be impeached. Okay, so that's where I'm going with this. The pink hat, vagina hat ladies who thought Juanita Broderick said Trump raped her and agreed that he needed to be impeached as soon as possible, even though it was Bill Clinton, not Trump. Also, the other young ladies, I saw that video too, and this wasn't just like one-off thing. It was happening all over the place, who looked like buffoons on camera, unable to give any example of Trump being a racist or that he hated immigrants, since he actually married an immigrant, if you will, right? But it said that the data shows that there are going to be instances of bad behavior. Madonna, anyone? I thought about blowing up the White House. Or Mrs. Judd? Or period on her blood sheet, blood on her sheet. What the? In that these protests will be a flop or wet noodle episode. These morons rambling on about nothing. I think that's a wet noodle episode as far as I'm concerned. But take it, you can take that however you want. It might be, might not be. I just thought, that's kind of where my mind went when I read that part. So that's why I wrote that. Page 23. Without regard to the developing stories of the outward appearance of the upcoming power shift, there are areas of new growth for crisis mode within the established deep state in officialdom, as fears of exposure will be taking hold from January 5th onward. Some of these fears of exposure sets are also directly held within the markets area, where they are reflective of the criminal crony class of the moneyed ruling elite. And I sent myself a single article that was posted January 26th from Breitbart. Mexico's president cancels White House visit after Trump hits cartels. And the article goes on to say, for example, as Breitbart Texas previously reported, an in-depth investigation has revealed that through the use of shell companies, members of the Juarez cartel financed the political campaign of Mexican President Enrique Pena Nieto. The cartel members appear to have also used government programs to launder money and profit from their networks of contacts. It has a nice little article, a lot more detailed than that. But when I read it, I thought, crony criminal class, moneyed ruling elite, interesting. I just kind of, that's what stuck out to me to start with. You might already say, well, wait, what about the Clinton Foundation? The Global Initiative, it's being shut down. There's a lot of people who are concerned about that. Matter of fact, we had 4 or 5 guys, top-level guys in the State Department, which I'm going to get to in another part of this, but it kind of goes in line with this too. And the first story was that they're stepping down. They don't want to work for Trump. Mainstream media, legacy media, lied again. Update. Do you remember the show from I don't know if it was out in the 80s, but it was definitely out in the 90s, I think. It could have been 80s and 90s, early 90s, actually. Robert Stack. Unsolved Mysteries. That voice. My wife said I couldn't even watch that show. As soon as I heard that guy's voice, it scared me. I could never watch it. I was like, oh man, are you kidding? I love that show. And they do one of these things, these incredible stories, and you're glued to the TV about this really weird, whatever, incredible story. And then right after they did it, update. After airing this show in 1987, 3 people called in, one of which was the mother of the lost girl, Update. Says the State Department, the legacy media, update. These people were apparently let go by their new boss, Mr. Rex Tillerson. Not them walking out. Oh, update. Robert Stack. And speaking of what appears to be Trump taxing Mexican products coming into the U.S., which I'm sure you've heard of, where he said, we're not going to make a deal on this wall. Fine, we'll just tax you and everyone else 20%, and you'll pay for it that way. And I heard that $1.7 or $1.8 billion per day happens between just commerce and everything else between the U.S. and Mexico. that happens every day and there's 365 days in a year, I think the Mexican president might just cave in on that wall deal. Maybe. But speaking of what appears to be Trump taxing Mexican products coming into the U.S., is it possible that those workers south of the border who have H-1B visas find that they are no longer needed, as in no longer allowed to come across the border? We will have to wait and see on this one, but I could see that, what I just read out of this webbot report, I'm about to read you, taking this to the next level where that might happen. H-1B, these H-1B visas, you're allowed to come in, you're allowed to drive product across the border, come back, etc., work and go back, that kind of thing. And lo and behold, an article from Fox News today, as I'm doing this video earlier, 1/27/2017, Trump defends order for visa crackdown, refugee halt, can't take chances. That's the title. Visa crackdown. Huh. Interesting. What did the webbot have to say before any of that happened? I guess this may still be page 23. Again, I don't know if it was the December or January one. The new data sets have a new political issue. Oh, and this is very political, is it not, between these two countries right now? That will be rising up in a fierce way. Is this thing happening in Mexico rising up kind of in a fierce way? I do believe so. Over early 2017, as the foreign H-1B workers visa program, or visas program, is described as being swept off the table. These sets show up first in early February, therefore growing at a rapid pace through to early April, where we get a collision between foreign H-1B workers visas as a meme, and the tax revolt language. So I wrote to myself, it is interesting that the president of Mexico coming to make a deal with Trump has now been swept off the table due to Trump's stance on making Mexico pay for the wall. And if they can't come to an agreement still, when we get into February, Trump decides, okay, now your guys aren't, your people, your citizens can't come across the border. You can't work over here. I'm sorry. Your president, who's part of the drug cartel, be upset at him, not me. I'm trying to work with him. We're going to have to work on this wall. And it's not our people coming to you. If our people were breaking over the border to your place, we'd pay for the wall. By the way, Mexico is building a wall on its southern border. That's funny. The United States is building a wall on its southern border to Mexico. No one's crying that Mexico's building a wall on its southern border to keep the other South American nations out. That's fine. No, don't worry about it. And who's paying for it? Well, Mexico is. Mexico's paying for that one. They got a problem, and they already know we can't make these countries pay for this wall. There's not a chance in hell it'll ever happen, so we're just going to have to take one for the team and pay for that. However, north of Mexico's border, U.S., like Trump said, NAFTA and all these deals were massively favorable to Mexico, not to us. So if you want to continue working and making money and stuff, you're going to have to build this wall. Help build the wall. Oh, no. Okay. And if they keep pushing back, Trump may just say, okay, I'm taking this to the next level. H-1B visas. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Mexican employees that are coming across the border. Sorry. I could see this happening. That's why I'm mentioning it here. We're not there yet. But when I saw the article at Fox News today, Trump defends order for visa crackdown to refugees. Refugee halt can't take chances. And I know we're not specifically talking about Mexico, but refugees as in the Middle Eastern ones that are coming over. But it's funny that it used the word visa crackdown. I'm just going to click on this. H-1B, is that in here? Or just the word visa? Oh, turn that off. Don't want to hear no ads. Visa. President Trump defended his forthcoming executive orders that are expected to suspend the the United States refugee program and halt the issuing of visas to citizens of certain countries, saying we can't take any chances. Now, granted, I get it. We're really talking about the countries that could do harm, so to speak. But haven't we heard that supposed terrorists from the Middle East are gathering on the southern border, our southern border, Mexico, and they're right away, and we found caches of weapons and things already? Haven't we already heard that? So Trump may say, look, they're coming in through the border through Mexico, so now I'm going to have to stop all that traffic, which includes some of these visas we've been giving out to you guys. I mean, it could go there. We're not there yet, but again, we're not even in the time frame yet of when the webbot said to look, but we're so close. I thought, can I see anything where I might be able to say there's a trend that says, yeah, it looks like we're heading that way. And we might be. So that's why I'm discussing this right now. From the December 2016 report, I didn't mark the page, other scandals are also showing within the political realm in 2017, developing over late February and through spring, and both going to alter the political parties at their core. This will be within larger context of the rollback and shredding of the trade deals. NAFTA, CAFTA, it's already off the table. It's already done. They've been cut. So this is what he said was going to be happening. And there's going to be a rollback and shredding of the trade deal. He's already doing it. These sets indicate very large impacts will be visible within just a few short weeks of the new administration being in place. The data is focusing on the language specifically for short few weeks. A majority of the subsets within USA Pop that contain power as a supporting set and that have growth over January are also bringing in lexical structures including awareness of failures of institutions and crashing of the idea institution-supported life and contention over organizations and hidden agenda. These awareness of the evils of power sets in USA Pop are at the extreme levels of emotional sums. These sums are not describing an awakening bloom within USA Pop that will accelerate over January and through February to reach something of an emotional crescendo in mid-March, just as the false economy or rigged markets within USA Pop reach into extreme bizarre levels. So my simple note for that one was Dow Jones 20,000, anybody? And is it about to go even higher, crazier, according to this data? What happens every time before the big crash? Market all-time high, everything's great. Better than great. And then you look at, well, that's in the bubble, that's way overpriced. Nope, that doesn't work. But the market says it's high, so whatever. Again, I just did a video the other day. While we were buying, the sheep were buying stocks and stuff, the club was selling massively, hundreds of millions of dollars, the top elites, okay? Another part of this, there are a number of sets for general reappraisal of the state of America within USA Pop as the power shift moves forward. What power shift? Oh, you mean the Trump train. Okay. As model spaces progress through to spring, the data has a number of new dramas that will be emerging over the late winter and through spring. These sets are also part of the secret revealed metadata layers. Much of the drama is focused on resistance to change. These sets have, speaking of resistance to change, who's the ones out there resisting right now? The pink hats, the women's march, all this crap. They don't even know why they're there. Trump's not our president. Shut your face. These sets have very large temporal echoes that will be appearing in late August through September. So that's later on this year. And again, and at a much higher level in spring of 2018. The data sets are suggesting that a reformation of the body politic, general social trend, of USA Pop is underway. The sets have the emergence of some very powerful counter trends to recent social engineering appearing that will be shocking to the committed left, in that the unrolling or removal of the blanket language is focusing on the mental constructs and created fantasies of these last 100 years are to be assaulted and overturned. The data shows this as a multiple-year process working through society. What I'll shorten that up and say is the truth goes through three phases. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. And third, it becomes common knowledge. So all these snowflakes, all these protesters, Trump's to my business, they're in either stage 1 or stage 2. And over the next coming multiple year process, they're going to realize the last 100 years has been a freaking lie. I was part of this lie. I can't believe I was in this lie. My goodness. And that's a great thing. Okay. And my little note was simply, let's see, snowflakes, millennials, pink hat women, Ashley Judd ranting about her period at a Trump protest. Again, Madonna. No one able to give any examples about why Trump is bad, such as sexist, racist, anti-immigration view. Their viewpoints may come crashing down, finally, if I'm reading this right. December 2016 report. As the data accrues to model space, the growth of the whistleblower wave is showing as being large enough to cause very large ripples within global media and government, both in USA pop and outside, with each new major personality who turns on former masters. These ripples include market fluctuations as well as political resignations. Oh, you mean the State Department got... Wait a minute. Could that be an early little blip? Maybe. In the January one-off report about the Bitcoin and metals, this is the only piece on that, model space has Bitcoin and gold and silver all rising along with the US dollar, albeit for a brief period that is being shown as mid-January through to nearly the end of May. The data has the dollar going into the currencies crisis along with most other currencies from May onward. The data sets have the rising prices in gold, silver, and Bitcoin separating from the currencies very rapidly thereafter. This point of separation is indicated to be temporally coincident with a shakeup in the new Trump administration. The accretion patterns have bifurcation of price occurring for Bitcoin, gold, and silver from mid-February through March. So again, I sent myself a little link from Zero Hedge covering it. Entire senior management team, State Department, just resigned. However, update. According to a CNN report, so as always take with lots of salt, the story has shifted materially. Because according to 2 senior administration officials, it wasn't a resignation by the State Department officials, but more of a termination. The Trump administration told 4 top State Department management officials that their services were no longer needed as part of an effort to quote-unquote clean house at Foggy Bottom. So we have the word that was in the webbot report, resignations, yet fake news media flipped it. Sorry about that. We lied again. The truth of the matter is they've been let go. Whether they were let go or resigned, there's a shakeup in the Trump administration. Okay? These are high level, not the highest, not Rex Tillerson, but right below him. You're fired. So I just wanted to touch base with this, kind of you guys in this, to say, let's see where we are. Does the webbot seem to be on the right path, so to speak? Is the trends right that it's talking about? Are these trends that it's said to kind of look out for? We should be doing this and seeing this. Does it look like that's happening and or about to happen? My answer absolutely is yes. Either or. It's some of the stuff is happening now. You can kind of see a path for some of the other stuff that hasn't happened yet. So I just wanted to do that little video and kind of give a little update on that whole thing. So take care.